Hi everyone, and welcome to the next video in the series of how to complete assignment 1. Okay, so we're all on the site. Let's go and have a look at some at the journal tool. So obviously you're being asked to put together a research proposal or research plan, and you all have a journal that looks like this. And you need to submit your final assignment in tabular form. Now, if you don't want to use the journal tool, there's no trouble with that. You can come across in here into the research study help, study design help there on the left hand tab, and pop down to the bottom. Oh, whoops, I have to move this down a bit. And there you go, there's a Word document of that. So I'll just open that so that you can see. It's just opening now. Slowly, it would seem. All right, while that's opening, we will have a look at some of the places you can go to for help. Right, and here's the table, finally. Okay, so what you're going to do is if you don't want to use the journal tool, or maybe you want to use both because this allows you to have it on your computer, but the journal tool will allow you to get some feedback from me if you require it. So you're going to get rid of all of these because they're not for you. So we're going to rename this. There we go. We're going to put in there, and we might call it that. Alrighty, so we're going to save that, and I'm going to remove some bits here, and it says 1.7 and module 5, so it's good for us to keep that in mind. Alright, so type the main questions. So we could do it here, or we can come across again into the journal tool. So I've come into my journal. I've come to the spot where it says create journal entry, and it's given me a place in which I can do it. Now I copied and pasted this table from that Word table right in here. So I can go in and edit this, but I want to show it to you first. So the question I had, and I'm working on the same question that I used in the last couple, so that you have an understanding of how the project will come, or how the assessment will come together, is I'm using the experience of midwives still. But in my reading, you will note from earlier videos, my question has changed, because what I realised is it's not city midwives that have a NICU downstairs or in a hospital nearby that are most likely to have the experience of being distressed, and I've only got one person who's told me these things, so I don't actually know how other people are going to feel. So that's why I'm looking at this, just like you're looking at yours, because you don't have the answer. And remember, if you happen to get to a point where there's lots of information in your area, but you want to look at that area still, have a look at this PICO video, and it talks about your population. If you change your population, often you will find a gap. Okay, so now so what I've done here is I've changed my question, and I've put it, what is the experience of regional, rural and remote midwives who deliver pre-30-week babies who need transfer to a specialist unit? Okay, now why is this important? On the face of it, doesn't really look very important, but here's my evaluation of potential understanding. And remember, what I've asked you to do here is reflect on how your research question will help solve your clinical problem that I've identified. So down here, I'm worried about, oh whoops, there's a typo there, but remember, this is a working document and I wouldn't submit it like this. the thing that I was thinking about is that many midwives in rural and remote communities and even regional communities will know or may know the patients that they deliver, or they'll know their sisters, or their husband is the electrician for the family, or something like that. So often in smaller communities there are community relationships that are not the same as in the city. And this is important because this can become an added burden to the people who work in rural communities. I mean, we've heard this quite a bit from nurses and other healthcare professionals because of that relationship of small community. Now, so I've found my gap. So how did I know I found the gap? Well, I went and had a look on both in the library and on Google Scholar for some literature on it. Now, if you've forgotten what you need to do in terms of how you need to search for literature, the Library Skills Guide that is on the left-hand tab in this under the assessment information and help section will have some information for how you should do that. And you can always contact and let me show you the librarian. If you're not sure, in the discussion board section we have got a section down the bottom here for you to ask Tim any questions. Okay, and he is on this discussion board a couple of times a week, so feel free to ask him questions about your literature and if you've got your search terms sorted any way you like. So back to this. Okay, so we've got some papers here. Now look at them, they're all pretty old, aren't they? This one's newer. It's not exactly what we want, but we're going to look at it anyhow. But I want to have a look at some of these other ones because, say, this is not a bad one to start. I can tell you already, it's a literature review from looking at that. But this is what these two words here in the title, emotion work and midwifery, are important parts of what I was hoping to look at. So we're going to go and have a look at that. Okay, that's going to, I'll open a new link so we don't have. Okay, so we're going to have a look at that, and here it comes. Now, it's old, isn't it? We saw that. So what way can we look at what's the best way of dealing with this? Well, first of all, we can look at some of the references that they've used. So you can go through these and see what's important there. Similarly, so for example here, we're going to pick this up. This is 21 years old, but I'm going to pop across to Google Scholar and I'm going to pop that in there. I'm going to take out that there. I'm going to pop that in. Now, I want to show you something, so let me move this across. Now, it found the one that I was interested in talking about. Now, I can't get a copy of it. You can see it's sort of tricky. What I can do though is go and have a look here called Cited By, and that will give me more recent articles that have used that particular article as a reference. Okay, so here we go. Look at this. This is lovely. Now that's Bee Hunter. Where's my here it is. So I've got this one down here. Okay. But it's good to go and find what else there is. You might have thousands of things that you need to look at. And so you're going to use the library and go through what you need to look at. Or you might have 10 or 20. Okay, that's fine. Now, so you're going to start reading all that and data mining to see. You can go back to Google Scholar, go to the site. Remember I showed you this Cited By to get more recent. So that will be more recent. So these are all more recent than that 1996 paper. Okay, now I might, because I still think 2005, if I can get something more recent than that, I'll do that. Okay, again. So, again, now you'll go through and read all those things. Now you might exclude some of those because they're actually not very similar to what you need. Okay, so, and that's okay as long as you can say in your mind, oh, for example, that one's about nurses, or that one's about patients, whereas I actually want to look at midwives. Then as long as you can sort of say Smith and Jones, excluded because of, and you can just have a list over there of just things that are things that you are not going to work with. Look down here though. Now this is interesting. So see this bee hunter again. It's the same person. So we're actually going to pick this up. I'm going to put this in that I'm going to have to go to edit first. And you can edit your first. You don't need to make a new post every time you go into your journal tool. Okay, now let me just pop in here and just drop that down. I'm sorry, I've got a bit of a croaky voice today. Now, I'm going to pop this in here, and I'm going to say post entry, so that we've just keep that. So this can be my working document, but when it comes to it, so all of this first part in italics, and whoops, we should have these in italics, these two references here, they're not going to be used. I'm not going to put that in like that. See this stuff here that says literature review and beyond? That's the beginning of my first draft of my literature review, where having read what is there, I have given a introductory statement here where I've talked about why I'm it's linking that question with the literature, you see, and then I've got in these brackets here what is known. Now I'm not really going to submit that with what is known. If you would like to have a small heading with what is known because that helps you, that's okay. Okay, so you then write what is known. All right, then you're going to have something called identify the gap, where you're going to be talking about the gap. Okay, now that is very important. The gap is where your research will make a difference. Imagine the research as being a jigsaw puzzle with no sides, so no edge bits, just an endless jigsaw puzzle with lots and lots and lots of gaps. Okay? In the last couple of weeks, I have heard phenomenal questions, things that will change lives immensely, like big scale stuff. That studies that should be done, and I've heard about small studies like the one I'm suggesting here is not, some of the things I've heard from both on campus and online students in the last couple of weeks have been tremendous. So and remember, research is about solving a problem that you saw. That's all it is. It's just using a method to do so. In the next video, we're going to look at how do you go from your question and your literature review to choosing a methodology. And this is where reviewing Module 1 and the information on inductive and deductive reasoning is going to come into place and be very important. Till next time then. Bye.